Are you tired of overthinking every decision? Caught in the never-ending cycle of weighing pros and cons, only to end up more confused and stressed than before? What if I told you there's a way to break free from that endless loop? A method that doesn't require you to be perfect, but instead just makes things work in the real world. Today, we're diving into pragmatism, the philosophy that's all about practical, no-nonsense solutions to everyday decisions. Forget about the theory overload, the idealistic dreams, and the pressure to always choose the perfect path. This is about getting things done, moving forward, and making decisions that actually fit into your life. And trust me, this isn't just some abstract concept. It's a game changer. So if you're ready to cut through the clutter, stop second-guessing yourself, and start making smarter decisions with confidence, you're in the right place. Stay tuned, because I'm about to share tools that will shift the way you approach every single decision you make. Let's get to it. Number 1. Embrace the 80-20 rule. Let's start with a bold statement. You're doing too much. Seriously, you're burning energy on things that barely move the needle. Don't believe me? Let's do a quick audit. Think about yesterday. How many tasks did you tackle? Now, how many of those actually made a meaningful impact? If your answer is not many, don't worry, you're not alone. Most of us are stuck in the same cycle, hustling hard but not necessarily smart. Here's the good news, there's a way out, and it's called the 80-20 rule. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Great, another productivity hack that'll promise the world but leave me more stressed. But trust me on this one's different. You've probably heard whispers of it before, maybe even dismissed it as one of those overhyped buzzwords. But here's why the 80-20 rule is a game changer. It doesn't ask you to work harder, it asks you to work smarter. Think of it this way, 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. The trick? Identifying that magical 20% and letting the rest take a back seat. We've all been there, haven't we? Chasing every single task on our to-do list as if it's equally important, replying to emails that could have waited, attending meetings that could have been an email, or perfecting every last detail on something no one else notices. You know the type. Work that makes you feel busy, but doesn't actually push you forward. The 80-20 rule flips that script. It says, hey, stop. Focus on the stuff that really matters, the stuff that drives results. Let me give you an example. Last month, I was drowning in tasks at work. Client calls, reports, presentations, you name it. I felt like I was juggling flaming swords. Then I decided to put the 80-20 rule to the test. I asked myself, what are the few things I can do that will make the biggest difference? Turns out 2 key tasks, closing a deal with a major client and finishing a high-impact project, were responsible for the majority of my success that month. So I prioritized those 2. The rest, either delegated, delayed, or deleted. And guess what? Not only did I meet my goals, but I also had time left over to breathe. Here's the thing. Embracing the 80-20 rule isn't just about boosting productivity. It's about reclaiming your energy, your focus, and your sanity. It's about letting go of the guilt of not doing everything and choosing to do what actually matters. Imagine the mental clarity that comes with knowing you're not spinning your wheels on low-impact tasks. Imagine the freedom of saying no to things that don't serve you. This is about your time, your priorities, and your peace. So here's my challenge to you. Take a moment today to identify your 20%. What's that small slice of effort that's yielding most of your results? Focus on that. The rest, let it go, or at least let it matter less. You deserve to live a life that's not just busy but purposeful. Your time is precious. Spend it where it counts. Number 2, the decision bank. Here's a bold thought. What if you treated your decisions like money? I know, It sounds a little odd at first, but hear me out. Every day, you're making dozens, maybe hundreds of choices. What to wear, what to eat, how to respond to that annoying email. Each one costs you something: time, energy, or focus. And just like with money, you can either spend your decision-making power wisely or blow it on things that don't really matter. Welcome to the concept of the decision bank. Now, you might be thinking, what's a decision bank and why do I need one? Well, think about it. How many times have you felt completely drained by the end of the day, not because of anything major, but because of all the tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions you had to make? We've all been there. You know the type of day I'm talking about, where even choosing what to order for dinner feels like running a marathon. It's called decision fatigue, and it's real. The decision bank is here to fix that. The idea is simple but powerful. Treat every decision like a withdrawal from a limited bank account. You start each day with a set amount of decision-making energy, and every choice you make chips away at it. The goal? Save your funds for the decisions that actually matter, those high-stakes, high-impact choices that shape your life. And for the smaller stuff, automate it, delegate it, or eliminate it entirely. Let me share a quick story. A while back, I noticed I was spending way too much time each morning deciding what to wear. Ridiculous, right? But it added up. So I created a system. I picked a handful of go-to outfits that I knew worked for me, and that was it. Decision made in seconds. Then I applied the same logic to my meals, prepping simple, repeatable options for the week. The result? More energy for the big stuff, like brainstorming ideas for a project or having meaningful conversations with people who matter. This isn't just about saving time. It's about reclaiming your mental bandwidth. It's about showing up fully for the decisions that define you and refusing to let the trivial stuff drain your power. Imagine the relief of not agonizing over every little thing. Imagine having the clarity to tackle life's big questions without feeling completely fried. That's what the decision bank gives you. So, here's the challenge. Audit your day. What decisions are you spending too much on? Which ones could you automate or let go of? Start small. Pick one area, like your morning routine or your lunch choices, and simplify. Then, watch what happens when you redirect that saved energy into things that truly matter. This is about more than just saving time. It's about taking control, reclaiming your focus, and setting yourself up for success. Remember, every decision you make is an investment. Spend wisely and watch your life transform. Number 3, fail fast, learn faster. Here's a question for you. What if failing was the best thing you could do? Sounds crazy, right? We've been taught to avoid failure at all costs, to play it safe, to stick with what we know. But what if I told you that failing, and doing it quickly, might just be your secret weapon for success? I'm not talking about reckless mistakes or giving up halfway. I mean deliberate, calculated risks that teach you more in a week than others learn in a year. Now, let's be real. Failure isn't exactly a word we associate with success. You know the feeling. Your heart sinks, you second-guess yourself, and you're left wondering why you even tried in the first place. We've all been there. Maybe it was a work project that bombed, a business idea that didn't take off, or even a personal goal that felt too ambitious. It's tempting to stay in your comfort zone after that. But here's the thing. Staying safe means staying stuck. Failing fast isn't about embracing chaos or being careless. It's about testing, experimenting, and learning as quickly as possible. Picture this. Instead of agonizing over whether something will work, you dive in, try it out, and get feedback instantly. If it doesn't work, no problem. You tweak it, try again, and move forward. The quicker you fail, the quicker you figure out what doesn't work. And that's the key to finding what does work. Let me share a quick story. A few months ago, I decided to start a small side project, a podcast. I spent weeks planning every detail, the format, the guests, even the intro music. When I finally launched my first episode, guess what? Crickets. Hardly anyone listened. I felt like I'd wasted so much time. But then I had a realization. I'd spent too much time planning and not enough time doing. So I scrapped the fancy stuff, put out raw, unpolished episodes, and asked for feedback. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. People started engaging, and I learned what resonated and what didn't faster than I ever could have by sitting on the sidelines. This isn't just about projects or goals. It's about how you approach life. Failing fast gives you freedom. The freedom to stop fearing mistakes and start seeing them as stepping stones. Imagine the confidence of knowing that no failure is final, that every misstep is just another step forward. This is about reclaiming your power, your creativity, and your resilience. So here's my challenge to you. What's one thing you've been holding back on because you're afraid of failing? Take the leap. Try it out. Fail fast and learn faster, because every failure gets you one step closer to the success you've been waiting for. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And the faster you embrace failure, the faster you grow. Number 4, practical hedonism. What if I told you that the key to a truly fulfilling life is chasing pleasure? Wait, don't roll your eyes just yet. I'm not talking about the kind of fleeting indulgence that leaves you feeling worse afterward, a junk food binge or hours scrolling social media. I'm talking about a smarter, more intentional approach to pleasure. Call it practical hedonism. It's about embracing joy and fulfillment in a way that actually enhances your life. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't hedonism all about selfishness and excess? That's the stereotype, isn't it? But think about it. How often do we sacrifice joy for productivity or delay happiness for some vague, better tomorrow? We've all been there, stuck in the grind, telling ourselves we'll enjoy life later. Spoiler alert, later never comes unless you make it a priority. Practical hedonism flips that script. It's about finding balance, making pleasure a non-negotiable part of your life without sabotaging your responsibilities or goals. Here's the idea. Instead of treating pleasure as a guilty indulgence, you treat it as fuel. When you prioritize joy, whether it's a hobby, a quiet moment with your favorite book, or an afternoon laughing with friends, you refill your emotional tank. You're not escaping life, you're enriching it. And here's the kicker. The kind of pleasure that truly fulfills you isn't random. It's intentional, meaningful, and often requires just a little bit of effort. Let me share a quick story. A while ago, I found myself in a cycle of working long hours and feeling completely drained. My downtime, mindless TV and takeout. It was supposed to relax me, but it didn't. Then one weekend, I decided to try something different. I signed up for a pottery class, a small, silly thing I'd always wanted to do but never made time for. At first, it felt awkward and unproductive, but by the end of the session, I realized I was smiling, genuinely. That one decision sparked a shift. I started making room for little pleasures that nourished me, and guess what? My energy, focus, and even my productivity improved. This is about more than just having fun. It's about reclaiming your right to enjoy life and understanding that joy is a critical ingredient in your overall well-being. Practical hedonism says, yes, hustle, but don't forget to dance. It's not about excess, it's about balance. Think of it as crafting a life where work fuels joy and joy fuels work. Imagine waking up and knowing your day has space for both ambition and pleasure. Here's my challenge to you. Find one thing this week, just one, that brings you real, lasting joy. Maybe it's cooking a meal from scratch, spending uninterrupted time with loved ones, or finally trying that random hobby you've been curious about. Commit to it and notice how it changes your energy, your mindset, and your ability to tackle the tough stuff. This isn't about escaping reality, it's about making reality better. Practical hedonism isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, so go ahead, embrace the joy. Chase it wisely, savor it fully, and watch how it transforms not just your mood, but your entire life. Number 5. The 3-minute rule. What if I told you that 3 minutes could change everything? Sounds like one of those too good to be true promises, right? But hear me out. This is not about quick fixes or life hacks. This is about leveraging a simple, powerful idea that helps you tackle procrastination, overwhelm, and even decision fatigue. It's called the 3-minute rule. And yes, it's as straightforward as it sounds. Now, we've all been there, staring at an endless to-do list, paralyzed by the sheer number of things screaming for our attention. You tell yourself, I'll start in 5 minutes, but somehow 5 minutes turns into an hour, a day, maybe even a week. You know the drill. The worst part, that sinking feeling of guilt that builds up while nothing gets done. It's like a mental tug of war that you never seem to win. Here's where the 3-minute rule steps in. The concept is simple. If a task will take less than 3 minutes to complete, you do it immediately. No debating, no bargaining with yourself, just action. The brilliance of this rule isn't just about efficiency, it's about momentum. Often starting is the hardest part, and those 3 minutes are just enough to break through the inertia that holds you back. I know what you might be thinking. 3 minutes? That's not going to make a dent in my massive workload. And you're right. On its own, it won't. But it's not about clearing your entire plate in one go. It's about creating a ripple effect. Those 3 minutes could mean sending that email you've been avoiding, wiping down the counter so your kitchen feels less chaotic, or jotting down a quick note to organize your thoughts. These small wins stack up, giving you the energy and confidence to tackle bigger tasks. Let me give you an example. A few weeks ago, I found myself staring at a cluttered desk, papers, unopened mail, random knickknacks. It was the kind of mess that made me want to walk out of the room and pretend it didn't exist. But instead of succumbing to the overwhelm, I applied the 3-minute rule. I told myself, just pick up one thing and deal with it. That first action, throwing away an old receipt, took maybe 10 seconds. Then I moved on to the next, and the next. Before I knew it, the desk was clear. 3 minutes turned into 15. And that small start completely shifted my mood and mindset for the day. This isn't just about tasks, it's a mindset shift. It's about proving to yourself that you can take control, even when it feels like everything is out of your hands. It's not about perfection or completing everything, it's about progress. And the beauty of this rule, it's so simple, there's no room for excuses. Think about it. How many moments do we waste overthinking something that could be done in less time than it takes to debate it? The 3-minute rule cuts through that noise. It's a way to reclaim your time, your focus, and your sense of accomplishment. It reminds you that even the smallest actions can lead to big changes. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing right now, a small task that's been nagging at you, and give it 3 minutes. Start the timer if you have to. Watch what happens, because sometimes all it takes is 3 minutes to change the course of your entire day. The next time you feel stuck or overwhelmed, remember this. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to start. Number 6. Gut over. Groupthink. Have you ever been in a meeting or a group setting where everyone seems to agree on a decision, but something inside you feels off? It's like your gut is trying to wave a red flag, but you brush it aside, thinking, Everyone else seems confident. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Well, let me tell you something important. Your gut is often smarter than you give it credit for, and ignoring it in the name of group harmony can sometimes lead you straight into regret. Now, we've all been there. You know the type of scenario. A team brainstorm where one idea seems to snowball, and before you know it, everyone's nodding along like it's the best plan ever. But deep down, you feel a twinge of doubt, a sense that something's being overlooked, or that the plan doesn't quite sit right. Yet, you stay quiet because, well, who wants to be the lone voice of dissent? It's easier to go with the flow, right? Except later, when things fall apart, you're kicking yourself for not speaking up. Here's the thing. Trusting your gut in these moments isn't just about intuition. It's about honoring your unique perspective. Groupthink, the tendency for everyone in a group to conform to a single viewpoint, can be a powerful force, but it often comes at the expense of critical thinking and diverse ideas. Your instincts might be picking up on something others are missing, and voicing them can be the key to avoiding a misstep. I know what you're thinking, but what if I'm wrong? Sure, that's a possibility, but here's the twist. Gut over groupthink doesn't mean stubbornly insisting you're right. It means giving yourself permission to question, to ask, have we considered this angle? Or, what if we're overlooking something important? These aren't criticisms, they're contributions, and they show that you're invested in the best possible outcome. Let me share a quick story. A few months ago, my team was planning a big project launch. Everyone was buzzing about an ambitious timeline, convinced it was doable. My gut, however, was screaming, "This is too rushed." At first, I hesitated. Who was I to rain on their enthusiasm? But eventually I raised my hand and said, I love the energy here, but have we factored in the risks if something goes wrong with this timeline? It was a simple question, but it sparked a deeper discussion. We adjusted the schedule slightly, and guess what? That extra buffer saved us when an unexpected issue cropped up. This isn't about being a contrarian or always going against the grain. It's about balancing collective enthusiasm with individual insight. When you honor your gut, you're not just protecting yourself, you're safeguarding the group from potential blind spots. And here's the real beauty of it. The more you practice speaking up, the more confidence you build in your ability to navigate those tricky group dynamics. Ultimately, this is about reclaiming your voice. It's about recognizing that your instincts matter and that silence isn't always golden. It's about understanding that true collaboration isn't about everyone agreeing, it's about everyone contributing. So, the next time you're in a room full of nodding heads and your gut is tugging at you, listen to it. Speak up. Even if your voice shakes, even if it feels uncomfortable, trust that you're adding value. Because here's the thing. Groupthink might be comfortable, but your gut is wise. And when you choose gut over groupthink, you're choosing clarity over complacency, courage over conformity, and most importantly, growth over regret. Trust yourself. You're smarter than you think. Number 7. Start dirty, finish smart. Perfection is a myth, and the sooner we let go of it, the faster we can actually start doing the things that matter. Here's the thing. Starting is messy. It's clumsy, awkward, and almost never as polished as we'd like it to be. But you know what? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. The magic isn't in starting perfectly, it's in starting at all. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly ready for something big? Probably never. And if you waited for everything to align just right, you'd still be waiting. We've all been there. You have this idea. Maybe it's starting a project, learning a new skill, or even planning an event. And in your head, it's flawless. But then reality kicks in, and suddenly, the fear of messing up stops you in your tracks. You think, I'll just wait until I have more time, or better resources, or until I'm more confident. Spoiler alert, that perfect moment never comes. It's like trying to nail jello to the wall, impossible and a waste of time. Here's the unconventional twist. Start dirty. I mean it. Forget the polished first draft, the perfect business pitch, or the ideal plan. Just dive in, mess and all. Why? Because messy starts lead to smart finishes. When you start, you create momentum. You learn by doing, and those rough edges become stepping stones. Progress beats perfection every single time. And sure, at first your efforts might look like a toddler's art project, but that's how masterpieces begin. I'll give you a quick example. A few years ago, I decided to try gardening. Now, I knew nothing about soil, sunlight, or how not to kill a plant. But instead of spending weeks researching, I just grabbed some seeds, dumped them into random pots, and hoped for the best. Was my first attempt pretty? Absolutely not. But over time I learned. I adjusted the watering, figured out the sunlight situation, and eventually I had a small but thriving herb garden. Had I waited to feel ready, I'd probably still have an empty patio. The same principle applies to almost everything in life. Waiting for perfection is just fear dressed up as preparation. It feels safe, but it's really just holding you back. Starting dirty isn't about lowering your standards. It's about giving yourself permission to learn, to grow, and yes, to fail. Because failure isn't the end. It's feedback. Every stumble is a clue about how to improve and move forward. So, what's stopping you? The fear of looking foolish, the idea that others might judge your messy beginning? Let me tell you this. The people who matter won't laugh. They'll admire your courage. And the ones who judge, well, they're probably too scared to start anything themselves. Starting dirty is about reclaiming your right to be imperfect, to be human, and to take action anyway. At the end of the day, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And when you embrace the messy, imperfect beginnings, you set yourself up for smart, satisfying endings. So go ahead, take the leap, make the mess, and trust that you'll figure it out along the way. Start dirty, finish smart, and remind yourself that progress always beats perfection. Every single time. Number 8, say no. More often, here's a thought. Saying no might just be the most powerful thing you'll ever do for yourself. It sounds simple, right? 2 little letters, 1 small word. Yet for so many of us, saying no feels like the ultimate act of rebellion. It's like we're wired to agree, to accommodate, to stretch ourselves thin, trying to please everyone. But what if I told you that every yes you give when you don't mean it is a quiet betrayal of your own needs? Heavy, I know. But stick with me here. We've all been there. A friend asks for a favor, your boss piles on another task, or someone invites you to an event you're just not into, and instead of saying what you're really thinking, I'd rather not, you force out a cheerful, sure. Why do we do this? Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's the fear of disappointing others or being seen as selfish. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. You end up drained, stressed, and maybe even a little resentful. Sound familiar? Here's where the unconventional twist comes in. What if saying no wasn't selfish at all? What if it was, instead, the ultimate act of self-care? Think about it. When you say no to things that don't align with your priorities, you're saying yes to the things that do. You're creating space for what truly matters. And here's the kicker. People might actually respect you more for it. Why? Because a well-placed no shows that you value your time, your energy, and your boundaries. Let me share a quick story. A while back, I was juggling a million things. Work deadlines, family commitments, and a side project that I was genuinely passionate about. Then, a friend asked me to help plan their party. Now I love my friend, but the thought of adding one more thing to my plate made me want to cry. Normally, I'd have said yes out of obligation, but this time I paused. I took a deep breath and said, "I'd love to help, but I can't right now. I've got too much on my plate." To my surprise, my friend didn't get upset. They appreciated my honesty and found someone else to help. And you know what? That simple no saved my sanity. Saying no isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about being honest with others and with yourself. It's about recognizing your limits and protecting them. Sure, it might feel uncomfortable at first. You might worry about letting people down. But here's the truth. You're not responsible for everyone else's happiness. Your primary responsibility is to take care of yourself so that you can show up fully for the things and the people that truly matter. So, the next time you're tempted to say yes when you really mean no, take a moment, breathe. Ask yourself if this is something you genuinely want to do or if you're just avoiding discomfort. And if it's the latter, give yourself permission to decline. Remember, every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to your peace, your energy, and your growth. And that, my friend, is a win worth celebrating. Number 9, the impact index. Imagine this. You're scrolling through your to-do list, feeling the weight of everything that needs to be done, and you realize something crucial. You have no idea what truly matters the most. Sounds familiar, right? We've all had those days when everything feels urgent, but when you look back, you're not sure what you actually accomplished. You check off a bunch of tasks, but did they make a real impact? Now imagine if you could flip that entire scenario around by focusing on one powerful metric: impact. Yes, I'm talking about what I call the impact index. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Impact. How do I measure that? Don't worry, I've got you. The impact index is a simple but game-changing way to prioritize your tasks, projects, or even your life choices. It's all about asking yourself one key question before diving into anything. What's the real impact of this action on my goals, my happiness, or my growth? And when you start thinking through that lens, trust me, you'll never waste time on distractions again. We've all been there though. The endless hustle, the constant feeling of being busy but never feeling truly productive. You know the type, constantly juggling emails, meetings, and commitments. But when you stop and reflect, you're left wondering, what have I really moved forward today? It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind, but we've got to start asking ourselves better questions. What if you could focus on the tasks that actually move the needle for you? What if you could spend more time on what really matters and say goodbye to the busy work? Here's where the impact index comes in. Think of it like this. Every task or decision you face gets a score based on its real impact on your bigger picture. Is it advancing your personal growth? Is it pushing you toward your ultimate goals? Does it make you feel accomplished and fulfilled? You start rating your actions, not just by how quickly you can get them done, but by how much value they bring. And yes, some things will be low on the impact index, but that's okay. They still need to get done. The key is, you stop letting them take up more mental space than they deserve. Let me give you a personal example. A while ago, I was working on multiple projects at once, feeling overwhelmed and out of control. My to-do list was long, and I was just ticking things off without much thought. But then I started applying the impact index to everything I was doing. Instead of spending hours on things that didn't matter much, I started asking, how will this move me forward? Suddenly, I was spending my time on the projects that excited me and aligned with my goals. The less impactful tasks, I either delegated, postponed, or dropped entirely. And you know what happened? I felt a huge sense of relief. More importantly, I felt like I was actually making progress toward what mattered. This isn't just about being more productive. It's about reclaiming your time, your focus, and your peace. You see, The more we align our actions with what truly moves us forward, the less we feel like we're spinning our wheels. By using the Impact Index, you're saying no to distractions and yes to growth, to purpose, and to a life that's aligned with what you care about most. And trust me, that's a victory worth celebrating. So here's the takeaway. Don't let your day be dictated by endless tasks and to-do lists that don't serve you. Start using your own Impact Index to prioritize, focus, and create real change in your life. Your time, your energy, and your purpose are too valuable to waste. By measuring impact, not just effort, you're investing in your future, your peace, and your power. And that's how you turn a busy day into a meaningful one. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some fresh, practical insights on how to tackle everyday decisions with more confidence and clarity. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want more content like this. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you can stay tuned for more on how to simplify your life with pragmatic, real-world solutions. Also, if you think someone in your life could use a little boost in making decisions easier, share this video with them. Let's spread the knowledge. I'd love to hear your thoughts and personal experiences. Drop a comment below and let's get the conversation going. We're all in this together, and I'd love to know how you've used pragmatism in your own life. Remember, the power to make decisions that move you forward is in your hands. Keep taking action, stay practical, and remember, progress is made by choosing to move, even when the perfect answer isn't clear. Until next time, keep making decisions that serve you. You've got this.